So we had a long-distance relationship for a while and eventually got married. And eventually he moved down here and we bought a house and just settled in, and we just fell in love with Boise. So he had lost his job twice and regained it, and that was a big stress for him. And then having the 2 children was a big stress, and not having any family support around to help us were major stressors in our lives that we talked about. Things started to get to be more, I guess, abusive or violent.
I would do something stupid at school, and I knew it was stupid, but I would be scared out of my mind. I'd hide in my room at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I would stay there in my bed, hiding underneath my sheet, sleeping till the end of the night because I did not want to get in trouble. I haven't had a whole lot of places that I could just be by myself and relax and just feel comfortable with being who I am and not having to adhere to policies or rules or regulations or strictness.
The whole time that we were in a relationship, it was pretty much a violent, more verbal and mentally abusive. He was controlling in so many different ways. You couldn't talk to guys. He wanted to know your friends. He was always all over my phone. I felt like I had to hide my phone all the time. I don't know how many of those were broken.
Things started getting, well, what I guess we consider violent in nature. He was pushing me around and things like that, throwing me around, grabbing me. At one point I was holding Evelyn, my 2-year-old daughter, and he had pushed me and we fell into the kitchen cabinets and she got a bloody nose.
When I did live with him, you know, we fought a lot. He's broken everything, any kind of electronic, anything that meant anything to me. So this one day I just snapped.
My dad, he reminds me of Frankenstein's monster because you never know if he's gonna come up and like get it in your face and like choke you to death.
And when I was tending to her bloody nose, he came up behind me and wrapped her blanket around my neck, and I fell on my knees and he pulled me across the floor by the blanket and then yanked it up to try to choke me.
You always think you can change someone or that they're gonna change, and it never happened that way. You know, they always ask you to come back and things are gonna be different, and so you try to give them the benefit of the doubt, and it never changed.
And then I took a picture of my daughter because I was afraid that the next day I would forget about it or do what I had done before, repress it, act like it didn't happen. And I didn't want that to happen again.
This person could throw you off of a balcony in the next 5 seconds, or they could like beat the heck out of your mom, you know what I mean? So it became very unsafe. Whenever you're around someone that's unstable and they're just drunk like a skunk, then you really need to put yourself in a better situation, and you need to seek help. And I think that's why my mom ended up going to the WCA.
They called the victim witness coordinator that night, and they got her on the phone talking to me, and they told me victim witness coordinator, who was amazing, directed me to contact the Women's and Children's Alliance and that to file a protection order the next day. I did have the victim witness coordinator and stuff to go to the initial hearings, to get the protection order, to get myself in a safe situation where I didn't have to worry about, you know, him coming and hurting me again, or me or the children.
So here I am with 2 young children, nowhere to go, having to move somewhere. So I decided to call, and I met with one of the residential specialists, and I ended up being able to move in there.
It was just very comfortable. I wanted to stay there for the rest of my life. I felt like I was in Disneyland. You know how most children get to go to Disneyland? I got to go to the WCA, and I got to be comfortable, and I got to feel like nothing bad was going to happen to me.
Just being there changed my life. I all of a sudden became somebody that I'd never been before. I did more in the year that I was there than I've done in my whole life.
I wear glasses, and without my glasses, I can't see what's going on. I can't even see where I'm walking. I'm just walking, and I'm walking, and I'm walking, and I'm running into walls, and people are running into me, and they're walking over me. But with my glasses, with tools, with different things that the WCA teaches you, you can see.
It's just amazing to see so many women that don't know each other and just sharing stories come together.
I mean, I definitely have a huge weight off of my shoulders that I never even knew I had.
They were there and they poured their entire heart out. It was because they cared about people. They wanted to make a difference. They wanted to change the world. And that's why those people were there to counsel us. They weren't there for anything else but to be our friends, be our mentors, and to help us through the dog that we were going through.
When I do start to have, something comes up, well, how am I going to deal with this parole hearing? I know where to go, now. I know that I can go to the WCA and they can talk to me and answer my questions.
They teach you how to see. They teach you how to be able to read and how to see and how to analyze situations and how to go about diagnosing problems that may occur and how to set up a healthy lifestyle for yourself.
I learned so much in that year about relationships and what's healthy and what's not.
My father, I know this for a fact, his two parents were the most abusive that I have ever heard of. And he repeated exactly what he knew, what he thought was okay. But that's not okay. I think that me being able to realize that and to have the WCA turn me into a slight direction and see what was going on and see that that's not right is going to help me to be a better father someday.
I feel like I'm on my right path now, where before I thought I was, but I wasn't.
No more violence, no more hurt, no more pain, no more abuse, no more.
I am really cautious about having children someday because I do get frustrated sometimes, but I really don't think that I will, but you never know, So I'm putting a major check on that caution sign and saying, watch yourself, because I don't want to ever do that to my kids, and I will never, ever, 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 ever let my kids go through the crap that I went through when I was growing up.
It's partly my responsibility to society. I mean, as a human being, to discontinue the cycle of violence, even from a broader perspective. But even looking at my children, I don't want that for my children. I don't want my daughter to be, to think it's okay for her mother to stay in a relationship like that. And I think that by me ending the relationship and continuing to talk about it openly with them as to why I left him will end the cycle.
Our lives are different now, and that's how it's going to stay. No more violence.